keeping targets up as Ragnaros landing a 4-man Sulfurous Smash, Durins of Hate from Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that East.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubrak, 4 at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5
And it
for
does
nothing.
not fall up. What a play! Oh my God! Somebody please clip that.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series Part 2.0. And I am joined this evening by Lulu and her hat of cats.
Hello, Aero.
How you doing, Lulu?
I'm doing great. How about you?
You know what? It's Wednesday night. We're casting some hots. It's a good time. I'm excited.
It's not just casting hots, it's playoff hots.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And this is the first round, so we're in the quarterfinals between amateur opponents and Can't Counterpick Stupid of C West. What do you think about these teams? What do you know about C West?
So I admittedly don't know how these two teams have done this season. I know this is the 2 seed versus the 7 seed, and we already in C West had the 1 seed go down to Team Training Wheels, the 8 seed. So, you know, anything can happen here.
And the 1 seed, of course, being better than bots.
Yes.
And that was a 2-1. So it's not like it was an easy victory. It was a hard-fought victory. It was a great set to watch. So, you know, if you didn't catch that live, make sure you go back and check the VOD. Also, I have to pick up Alpha because some time was redeemed.
Alpha time. That did not sound like it went well.
That was Alice. Alice sleeps underneath my chair while I'm casting usually and doing just about anything on the game. So so when I had to move to pick up Alpha, she was not so pleased about this.
What I'm hearing is it's also Alice time?
No, she's not coming up.
Aww.
Not
with that attitude.
Probably move the go bag out of screen. All right.
Oh, we got Arthur now in the chat.
Arthur now, hello there. So, Lulu, why don't we talk about these map bans?
Okay. So, from amateur opponents, they banned out Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity. And CCS opted to ban out Tomb of the Spider Queen and Cursed Hollow.
All right, and our first game here is going to be on Infernal Shrines. It was the selection of Can't Counterpick Stupid. As, oh, hold on, gotta change who gets the captain hat. So, captain. And let me see who they want the other one to. So that's where we're at there. Taking a look at the standings, as mentioned, we've got 2 and 7 on the bracket here. Amateur opponents 2 and Can't Counterpick Stupid there 7. Let's take a look at that playoff bracket that we talked about there just a moment ago. So we see here up in the top there that 2-1 victory from Team Training Wheels over Better Than Bots. They will face off against the winner of Cosmos and Essence Gaming currently going on right now. This match, however, amateur opponents and King Counterpick Stupid, whoever wins this one will face the winner of Randy Newman and Resurgence of the Storm. So some Division D teams coming up to Division C this season and in the playoffs, so that's fantastic for them.
Randy Newman. That's really all you have to say about them.
All right, well, we're all set up. We are going to go ahead and get into the game here. Welcome, everybody, from DB Smiley's matchup there. I believe DB Smiley was catching the Division A game between Regen Anomaly and Minion Miners. So thanks again to DB Smiley. Actually did a little bit of a trade-off so that I could cast the earlier game there, so I appreciate that very much. But we're going to get an immediate ban onto Rhaegar.
Oh man, Bloodlust Rhaegar is so fun. I'm really happy that Blizzard buffed it to where it's like a thing to pick, because it's so fun. But, you know, apparently they don't want the fun.
Well, they don't want the fun coming all over them.
Ugh. Anyways, that didn't just happen. So the ban from CCS is gonna be Cassia.
Oh, man. Oh, I agree. That was absolutely terrible. Oh, man. I don't have a PG-13 on this stream either, I don't think. Rip. Anyways, Cassia ban. Yeah, good ban.
Ban indeed.
I think
she got a really cool skin in that that patch where they reworked her.
Yeah, the Zeus skin. It's really awesome. I really like it. I think the redness of my face and my head was captured pretty well on camera there. Oh, laughing too hard. So anyways, Sylvanas ban. Really strong, can help the Punisher push harder. And especially on this map here, there's the yikes, yeah. Especially on this map here, because the Punishers, like, they lost a lot when the towers kind of changed their priorities. And so having the Sylvanas or an Arthas or a Gazlo, quote unquote, or a May, somebody who can shut down the towers, provides a huge boost to the Punishers.
No May here tonight because she is banned throughout playoffs.
True that. However, Mal'Ganis is on the table. He was only banned out for that last week of the regular season, and this begins the first week of playoffs. So
Mal'Ganis could just sleep the towers. That is not a Mal'Ganis. Instead of sleeping, you will party hard with the ETC. And
dance party.
Mosh pit. Ay.
I'm honestly a little surprised. Valkymer, known for his Arthas, not picking the Arthas tonight. At least not yet.
I mean, tank meta right now is Johanna and ETC, right? You just get one of the two of them.
True that. There's still plenty of other opportunities, though, that do pretty well in the right hands. Obviously, Mal'Ganis can certainly provide a lot of value. Diablo in the right hands on the right maps. And I think this is probably one of the maps you could see a Diablo on. But those are the two most common, ETC and Johanna. We're going to see a ban onto Malthael. So that kind of makes me wonder, like, are they maybe looking at, like, a Leoric, maybe to try to double soak? The Aero was the other thing I was going to mention.
See if we get the Leoric right here sometime in the next 17 seconds.
Who do you think they take as a healer with this so far?
Dukov is always good for the big silences. I'm also personally an Ariel fan.
Gotcha. Well, Stukov was really helpful in the last game that we just saw here in the Division D East quarterfinals.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Imperious skin, you can't really see the stool he's sitting on, so it kind of just looks like he's crouching in the air. It looks really goofy on the draft screen.
I didn't even recognize that he had a stool. I just assumed he was crouching down. So we're going to get a Chen and a Kael'thas. Kael'thas, this is 3 for 3 in games tonight. And two of them here on Infernal Shrines.
The Living Bomb can be very annoying to deal with on the point here on this map. Just, you know, like, put it on minion where you can barely see it, and oops, they spread fire to the whole team.
It's going to be Deckard.
Deckard Cain. You know what we're gonna see, Aero? Rubies. A whole bunch of rubies.
Yeah, can you imagine? Just imagine with me a Storm, Earth, and Fire with.
That's what I was gonna say. Panda Pals plus rubies, full heal someone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and you know, this is interesting. We're seeing a Lunara now. I really would have liked to have seen a Lunara earlier, going for the Abolish Magic into the combo that we saw there that Zul'jin Distillery had. But bringing it here, so Lunara can do a lot of spread damage with that Splintered Spear. Also has Nature's Culling. They've got Tassadar, who does a lot of AoE damage. There's a lot of burst potential between Tassadar and really even Imperious onto any of those frontline targets. But, I mean, Greymane, Kael'thas, even Chen with Storm, Earth, and Fire can put out a lot of damage onto a target very quickly.
I'd also like to give a shout out to Hung Fu in the chat for making a lot of really terrible puns. Valk is giving Arthas the cold shoulder. Maybe Valk left Arthas in the fridge to cool off. Imperious is crouching down to get rid of his stool. Nice.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
That's true.
All right, well, here we go. Game number 1 between amateur opponents and can't counterpick stupid. You know what, Lulu? I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce whichever team you'd like to do so.
All right, for the red team of Can't Counterpick Stupid, they've got Valkymer on ETC, Kelladorn on the Tassadar, Osprey on the Imperious, Wit's End on Deckard, and Madathi on Lunara. I'm so sorry, I just said that wrong.
All right, and for amateur opponents, we got Sonic's Bro playing the Greymane there. We got Cactus Ham on Kael'thas, Butte Holiday on the Anduin, ST Terminator on Chen, and Duck Rogers with a little bit of a spray there, playing the Johanna. And on Infernal Shrines, it's important to note here, we do have the weather effect of the snow. So that's going to give occasional shielding to heroes. So just a little bit of protection when every couple of minutes. And I have to say, like, I like the weather effect itself. I feel like their game results or their game impacts are minimal for the most part, except for the stealth one. And then
yeah,
it's just
I'd agree with that. I do still think that it doesn't really make sense to have snow on Infernal Shrines.
I mean, are you suggesting that it doesn't?
Frozen over.
Yeah. Well, we do have a frozen Punisher here. It's not going to be the first Immortal, however. Punisher, rather. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher coming up here in a minute and 10 seconds. Checking in our solo lane, though. Ched definitely taking the lead in the solo lane XP here, pushing up the minion lane wave a little bit faster than Osprey can on the Imperious there.
Teams taking their camps at almost the same time there.
And I thought we were maybe going to see CCS rotate down and get that bottom camp, but instead they're going to head up, try to clear up the mid lane, maybe even try to catch themselves a kill, but it's Johanna with that unstoppable iron skin, able to just get right on out of there. And we do have the electric fence coming in for Tassadar, so that additional damage and slow when he uses his force wall. So
Aero.
yes.
We don't have rubies. Decker took the potion of shielding.
Indeed.
And I am sad.
All right, well, you know, I mean,
No Panda Pal shenanigans.
so be it. Bottom camp is ultimately going to go over to CCS. Duck Rogers coming in just a little late there to try to get that invade thing on, but not quite able to do it. We've got Tassadar going into that shock ray at level 1, so he's going to be stacking up to 250 as he hits heroes. So that does kind of pose a problem potentially for amateur opponents as the game goes on, especially as you get to like level 16 when you get 8% damage. Yikes. Oh no, DB Smiley's coming in with these puns now too. This is all right, sure. Chat's just gonna get crazy here. Well, we've got Chen diving in onto Valkymer as ETC there, trying to get the slide, and 20 skeletal defenders already done for CCS. A little bit behind his AO. There's Celestial Charge coming in from Imperius. Not able to land it though. So the route for the disengage gives an extra stack. Currently at 3 there for Deckard. And only 10 to go for CCS. Terminator in the backline trying to pressure onto the Acidar. And a good gravity lapse from Cactus Ham trying to keep the team away. But it's looking very much like CCS is going to be able to pick up this first Punisher.
Yup. And they do.
Up in the top lane, though, that Shaman Camp did get some value. It took down the wall and half of the tower. You see Imperius heading up, and Lunara there in the mid lane. So the jump right onto the wall, keeping the Punisher in front, giving Greymane the opportunity to go ahead and auto-attack away fairly safely. And that will clean it up. So about 20% of the fort in the bot lane here. Not too bad for an early Punisher. They don't have a ton of health. And with the tower changes, again, it makes it difficult to really follow up with them.
Yeah, and they were also, CCS was 3v4 on that push with the Punisher because Lunara was up in the mid lane.
And ultimately, they didn't really get too much of an XP advantage out of that either. They're sitting just a little bit ahead, but I think that's because, yeah, the bot lane, they cleared out a full wave of minions, so once that's cleaned up, we'll be pretty much dead even on the XP here.
So really close as we're getting closer to the tins.
Yeah, and it's the next Punisher is going to be a Frozen Punisher. This is the one that the teams are really going to want to have on their side. And already, with the Shaman Camp that was pushing during the first objective, CCS is a little bit at a disadvantage there. Getting that wall down, it makes it a little bit easier for amateur opponents to come in and bring down additional structures, maybe work on that well. Johanna's coming in onto this bottom camp, though. There's the root from Anduin, and Johanna pulling them all onto the point. Gonna have to be a little bit careful, but does give the potential for some living bomb spread. ETC, however, getting out of that, making sure he doesn't spread. Keladorn, however, may fall to the Greymane, as Greymane in a little deep, now in danger from the Lunara, but Butte pulling Sonics right out of danger, and that's gonna be a camp going over to amateur opponents and level 10s.
Yeah, really hard to contest against a Johanna on a point like that. And then Imperius goes down in the top lane, and ETC in the bot lane. It's a rough 30 seconds for Can't Counterpick Stupid.
And I gotta say, you know, we didn't leave the camera from ETC and his antics there. If ever there was a beef feed going on, I mean, he was putting himself on the table. He was saying, hey, anybody want a little steak here? Because it was pretty much just walk in, got stunned, dead.
Indeed.
So level 10's now available here for CCS. That's going to change the overall way that these team fights go now. We've got the Archon, we've got the Mosh Pit, and the Stay a While. So a lot of really strong ultimates there, setting up for the potential for just an absolute massive blow up. But to counter that, we've got Blessed Shield, we have the Light Bomb. So it's going to be, and technically Gravity Lapse as well. It's going to be up to those heroes to make sure that Deckard and ETC don't get too much value out of those big ultimates.
And amateur opponents coming in for the camp invade here.
And it's going to be
They get it for
successful.
free.
Yeah. So that gives them both Shaman Camp up in the top lane there.
That was almost scary for Valk and Osprey in the top lane.
Now it is still, you know, Osprey still has that Celestial Charge. He has the potential to do an absolutely massive amount of damage, especially to these frontliners with that additional % damage at level 1.
Yeah, over there.
There's the Angelic Armaments as the combos, the stun combos coming out there. And able to land all those missiles there onto Greymane, but there's the stun, the pull onto Chen, absolutely clutch. And Light Bomb also going to interrupt the Mosh Pit. They get the kill onto Lunara as part of that. They're calling for the kill onto Valkymer. But Valkymer far enough away to pull back out.
Yeah, CCS was really close to getting Chin killed before he could pop his Panda Pals, but Lunara unfortunately got into tower range and had a bad time after that.
And it's been a while since Anduin came out, like a year or so. But I have to say, it's those kind of plays that made Anduin just such a pain in the neck to deal with when he first came out, right? You're like, I got this, Oh, nope, you don't got it. But there's
He's
a
still
great
pain in the
stun.
butt.
Fantastic stun from Osprey. ETC following up here with the power slide, but the Force Wall going to cause a little bit of a disengage there. But Johanna gets leapt on. Punisher going over to amateur opponents, though. They can't really push with it. Johanna's down, and that gives basically this uneven 4v5 here. But it's not gonna matter, is it?
Oh, the potion! What a clutch potion
Oh,
from
goodbye.
Deckard.
Oh, goodbye. He's dead anyway. Got caught by that root.
Oh no, and there goes the old man.
Yeah, Living Bomb off of the tower, spreading onto Deckard, I think is how that went down.
Oof.
That's the first fort of the game here, going over to amateur opponents, as Tassadar having to hearth away, doesn't have any mana, and Lunara pulling the Punisher over, trying to get it into range of this keep so that it goes down quickly. Took about half of her health just to do that, though. And with that, now, amateur opponents has taken a pretty commanding XP lead. They got level 13s in there, they're a full level up, and they got that
Just
fort.
another camp invade.
Another.
And now they're gonna go take bot camp.
Another one. And we see him pinging for Valkymer. I don't know if this is the red team pinging for Valkymer. I'm guessing not, because that Blessed Shield was on point.
Oh.
This bottom fort, I don't know what it is. This particular one on the red side, I have to say, I have seen more single target picks at that fort while it's up. Just everybody just saying, let's go, let's do this, than anywhere else on this map. It's that fort almost every time. It's okay.
That's weird, but you know, you cast over 100 games last season, so I'll take your word for it.
It's strange. I mean, sometimes it's the solo laner, sometimes it's not, but it's just strange that that particular lane seems to be, you know, one where it's like they often get forgotten and teams just rotate around, pick off that hero at the bottom fort, and there you go. But they're back. It's 15-14, although amateur opponents is going to have 16 coming up, so they're going to head to their shaman camp. And it'll be interesting to see here. CCS is heading to the bot lane. I think they almost should have taken their shaman camp while they still had the talent tier, because now I don't think they can contest it.
Yeah, and Osprey needs to be really careful here. Surely he knows an evade. Okay, yeah, he does. He gets out. But it's still a long level and a half for CCS before they get their 16s online.
A double Shaman Camp coming in the top lane here. How much of this is going to hit into this wall? They've got the Kael'thas, they've got Greymane auto attack range, but I mean, Tassadar and Lunara, they've got pretty decent range and they do pretty decent damage, so I'm not sure how much Amateur Opponents is really going to get out of this.
Yeah, but they are up 16s for a long time, so CCS doesn't really want to fight here.
Yeah, but they can't just leave it up either. So with the full breadth of their team here, they're not getting that XP they need from those other lanes. So the full wall is going to go down, and I think that's about the best that you can expect, honestly, from either team. I mean, you know, Amateur Opponents with that double Shaman Camp looking for as much as they can get, gets the full wall, sets up a wing condition later. That's pretty solid. CCS, they don't lose anybody. They don't lose their keep. Maybe they could have gotten some XP. Maybe they couldn't, you know, in another lane. Who knows? I think that's about as good of a circumstance as it could have been for either team. Without it just being blown one way or the other.
Yeah, unfortunately, CCS still doesn't have their 16s online, so they're probably just giving this objective. Definitely just giving this objective.
For a moment, it looked like maybe they were thinking about going in 4v5 and down level 16 talents.
They were just guarding the camp.
Yeah. They said, our beef isn't that seasoned.
Oh my gosh. This is like your one lane of puns, huh? Just all the cow puns.
Listen, I mean, you do what you gotta do.
You moo what you gotta move.
I was gonna say, move over or just accept it. I mean, what else am I gonna do? Like, oh dear? Like, come on. You can't really say anything about the venison.
God.
Nobody eats pandas.
Pandemonium.
The only good thing about pandas that you can say we can't talk about on the stream. However, look up The Daily Show, February 14th, Ricky Gervais, and you're welcome.
And
but we've got a bush
an
party.
Arcane Punisher here in the bot lane and a bush party. What happens next? First bullet out onto Valkymer there. And a Furious stun for a year. There goes the cow.
Well, Punisher joining the fight now, leaping out onto Deckard. The unfortunate circumstance there was that taking the fight behind the Punisher meant that if you don't win the fight, it's a very awkward retreat. And they did not win the fight. In fact, they likely, with that full team wipe and half this Punisher left, I think that's going to be the game.
The game.
And look at how quickly... Hold up. Hold up. I gotta zoom in on these guys. These little pandas... Well, they're not doing it now. They were attacking like lightning speed, and I have no idea how they got that attack speed. But game number 1 going over to Amateur Opponents. That was a good attempt. That was a good strategy to try to come behind the Punisher and try to force that fight in an area where they didn't have the Punisher jumping on them. But once they lost Valkymer, it set the team up that they just couldn't do anything else. And then when they tried to retreat, the Punisher said, haha, time for fun.
And they also, since it was the Arcane Punisher, kind of had those little orby spinny laser things that probably were also not helping them in that fight.
Yeah.
That's the official name, by the way.
The spinny laser things make sense.
Yeah. I've also got CoCaster Flynn here helping me out right now. At the start of the game, he straight up walked on my keyboard, and I was very scared he was going to cause bad things to happen. But it was
Fair
fine.
enough. So can you get Flynn to say something like "right meow"?
No, unfortunately, he does not talk a whole lot unless he's demanding pets. And he
I
is
see.
receiving pets right now, so he's got nothing to complain about.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Getting the attention that you want tends to put you into a nice, comfortable mood and not complaining about things.
Yep. That was the moral of the story.
All right. So we're getting set up for game number 2. It's going to be the choice for Can't Counterpick Stupid to decide whether they want first pick, whether they want map pick. Ultimately, amateur opponents had the decision they wanted first pick because they're the 2 seed, so they had that choice. So we'll have to see what CCS wants to bring out. And maybe we'll see maybe we'll see the Arthas on this coming map.
Maybe we will.
This is the end of season. If
It's true.
Can't Counterpick Stupid can't pull off this win, this is their
where
last game.
You bring out all your crazy strats, the thing you thought was too much all season. This is the last chance to bust it out.
So let's see if we can find out where we're going.
Hey, Aero, you know where we're not going?
You know what? I bet you're gonna tell us.
Yeah, I am. It's not going to be Dragonshire, Battlefield of Eternity, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Cursed Hollow, or Infernal Shrines. I say that with like 100% certainty. Unless you lied to me, in which case I'm not 100% certain.
Well, fair enough then. Apparently with extra letters. What? Oh. I asked Valcomer if they wanted map pick or first pick, and he says discussing with a couple of extra S's in there. So there you go.
Can't counterpick Snake, am I right?
Apparently. All right, so our options are Alterac Pass, Braxis Holdout, Sky Temple, Hours of Doom, and Volskaya Foundry. I have my own personal preference on where I would like to see the next map.
Is it Towers
What
of
would you?
Doom?
It is. I love Towers of Doom. I do.
It's also a really good dramatic map for like playoffs, especially.
I agree.
You can have the incredible 1 health comebacks, etc., etc.
So is that your preferred map, or is there anything else that I mentioned there that you would rather see? Any particular map that you want to see this game 2 on?
I personally think Sky Temple is a very underrated map. So I'm always happy to see it get some love, so I'd like to see it here.
Sure.
Feel free to @me.
So I think that ultimately, if you're CCS, if they want to take map pick, and I don't know that they do, but if they do, I think that they want to look at a map that has more like macro oriented play. Because it just felt like overall each team fight that they had did not really end in the result that they wanted. They got 1 kill that game, right? On to Johanna. So in the early game, they were keeping up. They were able to, keep those camps going out. They were able to keep the XP absolutely even. They made, 1 mistake in the bot lane, and that just kind of shut them down for the rest of the game. So if they can make a decision that is macro focused, keep themselves in the game, and look toward that later game, I think that probably benefits them.
Yeah, and it is really unfortunate. It really was kind of just that 1 camp fight where, Johanna contests them on the point. She doesn't really die. You're all grouped up to fight, and you've got Kael'thas living bombs coming in. And then suddenly amateur opponents had tins, and they got a couple more picks, and it just became a bad day from there. But other than that, like before that, like you said, it was completely even. So could still
Yeah, I mean, CCS got the
definitely
first.
go either way.
Yeah, they got the first Punisher too.
Yes, they did.
So, any heroes you'd like to see come up here? Anything unique that maybe is a little bit abnormal?
I don't know that I would say abnormal. The hero I always want to see in my heart of hearts is Lulu because she's the best hero in the game. And she got a new skin.
I love that new skin.
I do too, but still, her Lunar Festival skin is actually my favorite still, I think.
Well, I have been officially told where we're going. Lulu, where are we going?
Oh, we're going to Sky Temple. They listened to me. Shout out to who picked this? Whoever picked it.
This was CCS.
Shout out to Valkymer and CCS. You know what? Shout out to Valk's mom. Lovely woman.
Fair enough. It's all updated. The teams are coming in. They're trickling in one at a time here. Let's see. This was the red team's app. All right, so Sky Temple. What do you want to see specifically on Sky Temple? Obviously, you mentioned about Lily, but is there anything that you would like to see on a Sky Temple map that you know, maybe gets favor over other maps?
I have in the past seen some things with like an ETC stage dive get a lot of value. Also seen some Trixie Abathur stuff. So anything could happen. This is also the map that is sort of infamous for like just run it down. I think it's bot lane games where you can end in like 5 minutes. So we'll see if it's something cheesy or it's just, you know, it's a map they like. Also, please ban Ignasty from the chat for saying that I want to see Malfurion here.
It's like we have some substitutions over here on the side of Can't Counterpick Stupid.
Oh man. I don't know if you know this, Aero. Valkymer is a huge advocate for the NGS 15 movement, in which he would like to see 15-man rosters for NGS teams.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
So, you know, we're still at the 9-man roster, but I believe CCS has a full team, and they've got lots of friends they like to play with, so we got a new friend. New couple of friends this game.
Indeed, yeah, we've got 2 substitutions, and you know, this seems like a great moment to shout out, if you didn't catch this today, the NGS end of season survey is out there. One of the questions is about the team sizes, asking, you know, do you think that 9 is the way to go? Keep it at 9, maybe drop it down to 8, which it was here a couple seasons ago, or maybe bring it back down to 7. There is no option for 15.
Man, is there like a write-in option or something?
Nope. Those
that's
are your
a shame.
options. 9, 8, or 7. That's it. Those are your options. That said, there is a catch-all at the end that you can put in your comments about any particular question. So there you go.
Good to know.
Lots of good questions on there. They did not specifically ask about shouting out Valk's mom, which I feel like is a little bit of a surprise at this point. I feel like they could have put something like that in there at this late stage of the seasons.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit of an oversight on their part.
I believe some of the board may be in chat, so, you know, who knows? Maybe there's still time.
At Ektar, why no shout out to Valk's mom? Oh, Abathur ban straight away. Not sure if targeted or they just could sense it.
I mean, it makes a ton of sense. It
super does.
Your core health bar is basically your structures, and so having the one character in the game who can increase your structure health, like, makes a ton of sense. So getting rid of him, A+ ban.
And there is the Cassia ban once again.
I forgot in all this time I hadn't written down who they had played in the last game, so you know, of course, I did that. I just looked over at my dog, who is laying out on her side, eyes completely closed, and as I started to turn toward her, she like opened her eyes, paused, and then looked at me like, is this crazy guy actually looking at me? But anyways, in that time, Johanna's gonna get banned.
Yeah, so last game, amateur opponents picked up the Johanna and they're banning it this time. So what do they have up their sleeve? And Anna ban coming out from Can't Counterpick Stupid, so kept those two the same. That was a fast lock-in of Sylvanas. I think that was half a second.
You know, so you mentioned about like the 5-minute like run it down a lane kind of scenario, and one of the ways that you can do that is with Sylvanas. We may even, like, if we see a Zarya here, that's what they're doing, right? They're just running straight, run it down bot lane, call it a day. That said, I think the Greymane is a really valuable asset to that type of comp. So maybe it's not as easy to do, and we do have the beginnings of potential bloodlust.
Yeah, also the Rhaegar for Can't Counterpick Stupid, that also would have helped amateur opponents if they were wanting to run it down mid. Which the Rhaegar was banned the first game.
Li Ming and ETC. So I don't think we're gonna see a run it down, you know, bot lane or anything like that. I think this is just, you know, comfort picks. Good news, you said?
Yeah, good news. You get to make more cow puns. You can only hope he takes the stage dive so you can make some flying cow jokes.
Stage dive.
And I think, okay, I think those are the exact 3 bans for
It turns out they are.
Okay. I'm not crazy.
Listen, that has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not
These
you're
are
crazy.
completely unrelated statements. So who is the 3rd ban from amateur opponents?
Is it Urel?
Dun-dun-dun.
No, it's Garrosh.
Garrosh, interesting. Oh, what if they do take the Arthas? He can shut down towers too. If he goes Centricosa.
Yep, eventually.
Yeah, that's true. Level 10's not exactly like rush.
Anduin's still a potential for the amateur opponents here. Osprey taking Lunara does give them that potential for cleanse as well. So they potentially have 2 cleanses.
Aero, I feel like you lied to me. There's been no Arthas in either game.
Oh, yes. You're absolutely sorry. I just got a text regarding a comment in chat, and that is 100. Yeah. So, Velas Coldwine there went and watched the Ricky Gervais on The Daily Show, February 14th. Big wobbly spunk. Yes. Yeah. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, it is the most hilarious 7 minutes of anything you will see in your life. And Zarya picked up. Is it possible that they're looking at potentially a run it down comp? They might be.
Oh, I thought that one of the key components of the run it down comp was an Enubarak for the Beatles, which we don't have. And I don't really understand how Muradin fits into it, but maybe. Also,
I mean, Muradin's... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Muradin has Sledgehammer, so he can really put out extra damage onto structures and all that. But probably more importantly, he's got his second wind, which allows him, like, he performs well with the Rhaegar because he doesn't need as much healing, and with Rhaegar's longer heal, you know, that makes it a little easier for him.
Yes. Also, for the side of amateur opponents, we do have ST Terminator on the Artanis, which is sort of their namesake, if I'm not mistaken, right? Amateur opponent? Artanis? Or is that the wrong hero? I don't
Nope,
actually
that's correct.
play the
Yep.
role.
That's correct.
And it's, happens to be their portrait as well.
Indeed. D, just want to say thank you very much for the raid coming in. Oh, wrong one. As we get, we're going into game number 2 here between amateur opponents and Can't Counterpick Stupid C West Division of the quarterfinals. Lulu, take it away with our introductions.
Okay, so in this game 2 for Can't Counterpick Stupid, we've got Osprey on Lunara, Wits End on the Rhaegar, Falcomer on Muradin, RTB on Greymane, and Silma on the Zarya.
All right, and here for amateur opponents on the left, we got Duck Rogers on the ETC, Butte Holiday playing the Stukov, Cactus Ham, going to be on that Sylvanas, Leeming going to be played by Sonics Bro, and Artanis played by Terminator. And let's see, is it amateur opponent? No, of course not. It's Protector of Ire.
That's just blatant false advertising. Can we get a mod here?
I think we have one. Maybe. Somebody out there. So, CCS did split up. They didn't want to give the opportunity for Sylvanas to just walk in and get any of the towers. But that's going to leave here Muradin versus Leeming in the mid. A little bit of a weird matchup. And then, of course, Zarya and Greymane in the top. And that's actually pretty beneficial here for CCS, as that's going to give them that shield onto Greymane, allow them to kind of push down those towers relatively easily.
He, almost got this bottom turret down, although he's maybe in a little trouble. No, he's fine. Everything is fine. Nothing happened.
Yeah, very close there. And so the team without Sylvanas is actually the one that's getting the most value. But now, at 1 minute and 20 seconds here, amateur opponents right on the bruiser camp. We got Rhaegar picking up the siege camp for CCS, though. So the question is now, can amateur opponents push this up? With this bruiser camp, if they can get down the full wall, then the tower will, or I'm sorry, the temple will secure them the fort. So I think that maybe even spreading out their damage, I think that they're actually doing themselves a disservice here. With the Sylvanas, I think they at least push down this wall with a, 4-man and see what they can get out of it. Instead, it's going to get cleared up before it gets there.
Yeah. They did also take their siege camp in the bot lane. Both teams took that camp, so maybe something. So do have Leeming and ETC in the bot lane pushing in with their siege camp.
That'll give them a little bit of pressure, but it's in that off lane away from the temples, so it's not going to be something that they get immediate value out of. This is really more toward that second temple phase when they're closer to level 10s. And very little damage, only about 5% of the one tower, and instead this gives now CCS the opportunity to get down that first tower and maybe even start working on that second tower with this bruiser camp coming in.
Lunara is going to be super slow to get up there, though. She cannot mount. She's just hopping her way up to the top lane.
And the temple has started the charge here. But all of amateur opponents coming in here. All 5 of them coming onto the top here. Artanis might be looking for a swap, but instead is just going to get onto the temple. It's going to make sure that they don't lose their own tower there, their own fort. But that just pushes CCS down into the mid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just kidding. Lunara goes back to the bot lane. CCS looks like they're just going to take whatever amateur opponents is going to give them for free, and Lunara is going to get them the lead towards level 7.
Falcomer taking a lot of damage there from Cactus Ham. But again, as Muradin able to pull away and does have that second win, so he'll be able to heal back up a little bit away from the team. JK, Sylvanas says, hey, let me take that back off. And amateur opponents is going to get now the mid
So
point there for a bit. Go ahead.
Oh, Valkymer was stressing me out a little bit. He didn't have a whole bunch of health and was considering going into the other team, but everything's fine.
Well, the bulk of the temple shots go over to amateur opponents, but it's actually CCS who really takes the lead in this. Maybe a little bit less now, as Lunara going to be the first blood there.
Oh dear.
Eh.
That was a very low-hanging fruit. I apologize, but Rhaegar is pushing in mid lane right now, which is fine because amateur opponents is just going for the camp invade here, but could have been scary.
Well, Valkymer's on the point here, gets knocked off by the ETC, jumps, doesn't quite clear the wall, and the cleanse coming out, but it's not enough. Sylvanas going to finish that off. And that's another 15 seconds before Murden is coming back in with Sylvanas now. They're going to actually see if they can't push down the rest of this wall. The siege camp getting cleared up by RTB and Silma. And so now, if they're able to get that bottom tower, that will, or that bottom temple rather, that will allow them to finish off this bottom fort as well. And that sets up that win condition with the boss.
Yeah, both teams are... Whoa, never mind. I was gonna say they were even on damage in the bot lane, but with
Not
Silk
anymore.
turning off that tower, it's not gonna be long for this world.
And there goes the first fort. We talked about the weather in the last game. This one's actually the rainstorm here, giving them occasionally that movement speed and the additional AoE damage. Now, keep in mind, while the movement speed does go to everybody and it's equal, it does reduce the potential for your reaction time. So even though you can move quickly away from somebody, or as quickly as they can move towards you, them coming at you means that there's less time for you to be able to get out of those mechanics. But it also makes it easier sometimes to dodge things like Li-Ming orbs.
Ooh.
Like that.
Everybody's got their tins online for this fight, except Rhaegar has not. Oh, he went with Ancestral. I'm sad. Okay.
ETC gets a mosh, but it's completely whiffed there. The expulsion zone coming in. They do get the kill onto Greymane, though. However, ETC having to pull back, doesn't really have any health. Osprey, though, getting caught by the Artanis as Valkymer gets that ancestral healing, gets booped away out of the Arcane Orb by ETC. Probably not life-saving, but definitely a little bit of assistance.
Yeah, helps.
And there goes the second fort here, thanks to Artanis being on the temple. ETC is pretty far forward, but there's not enough really for anybody to do there, as it was Murden, Zarya, and Rhaegar. Maybe they could have gotten a kill if things like, if the stars had aligned and they got a big stun or something. I don't know, but it was definitely a rough place.
Indeed.
Majesty, or Droopy rather, saying, only Mosh interrupt on the tanks. That's the Zarya and Muradin with the Stormbolt expulsion zone. Because, of course, even if Lunar takes the Abolish Magic at 13, that doesn't really help the Mosh.
Right. They do get the well down in the bot lane for CCS, so that's something for the next time there's a bot temple up.
Which is coming up soon here. They are going to get onto their giant camp. Are they going to get it fast enough? Well, Li-Ming throwing the orb in. That expulsion zone will let them secure it. And let's check in on Greymane and Artanis here real quick, as it looks like the rest of the teams have disengaged. We do have the Bruiser camp, so Cursed Bullet missing is going to ultimately allow him to disengage. Yeah, this is the one time that the solo laners
Nothing
are like,
happened.
darn it, they were watching. Greymane's gonna have to pull back, though, as he did take a lot of damage from the Artanis. Artanis sitting at 85 stacks. Sylvanas there sitting at 50.
Yeah, Osprey coming in, though, allows CCS to keep pushing with this camp. They look like they're probably going to get this fort. maybe. Or not, because amateur opponents is rotating up.
It's pretty close. They could probably get it with the top temple, but it looks like they're setting up primarily to go for this bottom temple. And just like you mentioned a few moments ago, that should allow them to get that that bottom fort if they can secure the full amount of it. But amateur opponents is not going to let them do that. They don't want to allow for a trade. They want to take as many of these temples as possible.
Yeah, just get all the temples and win the game, Aero. Easy.
Makes sense to me. Burden coming around behind was kind of hanging out in this bush up here, just waiting to see if he could catch somebody, but everybody's already down here, so this bottom temple is going to be in the control of CCS, but now maybe looking at the boss.
Yeah, Artana scouted it out there with his little swappy thing.
Arcanor missed there, but the big silence onto Murden and Ancestral just not enough. It's a quick kill here coming out from the amateur opponents, and now they're going to be looking at the boss. Zarya does have Expulsion Zone, but splitting off and leaving is going to give the boss 100% over to amateur opponents, and they still have bottom temple, and that's sending shots into this bottom keep wall. I don't think there's anything else. There's a little bit of a well left, so ultimately that's going to give that boss free access to the keep. Majesty, playing as a vacation when you are being healed by Butte Holiday. Playing what? I have no idea. Well, there goes the tower shots onto this bottom keep wall. The boss sitting here at about 2/3 health. And Murden did not actually go into the Stormbolt upgrade of 4, which gives that extra damage to structures and bosses and minions and camps and all that stuff. Basically non-heroes.
Do we have a fight at the siege camp?
If we do,
Amateur opponent does 16, so this just got a lot scarier. Probably don't want to be here.
Well, they were able to pick it up though.
Yes, they did get the camp. Also, during that whole phase, CCS was able to get the top and mid forts, so they've at least got 2 structures down, which will help them some here.
It definitely keeps them in the game. Their overall health bar being the structures, they're not that far behind.
Yeah.
You know, they're definitely a little bit weak in that bottom, so this bottom temple, when it comes up here, is going to be key to make sure that they are able to maintain some level of defense with that keep. But amateur opponents saying, we don't want to wait for that temple, we want to come in and get this right now. And they have the damage to do it here. There's a swap onto Osprey. Lunar is going to leap over ETC, but she's going to get taken out anyway.
I mean, she was deleted from the video game.
Sorry, everybody, that Lunar is just not an option for you to play anymore.
Yeah, crazy.
Can we, like, maybe set something like that up for some Samuro? Maybe a little Genji?
Well, Samuro never dies, so that's not gonna work. But CCS does at least have 16 now. But unfortunately, they don't have a bot keep anymore. You know, Sylvanas trait plus Leaming damage is not super fun to your buildings.
Yep. That being said, now CCS doesn't necessarily have to take bot temple. But it is going to be something that they're going to focus on here. That gives the trade over to amateur opponents, and right now, the trade is not in favor for Counterpick Stupid. They're a little bit on the back foot at this point.
Yeah, they do get the last fort down, but their mid keep is soon going to be taking damage, and there's also a camp pushing for amateur opponents in the top lane that will have to be answered at some point. Osprey 4v1 is scary. Oh, there's Friend. There's friends to help.
Yeah, and it looks like Rhaegar is going to finish off that bottom temple. And if they were going to get one or the other, I mean, really the bottom one is the better one for them to get. They do get that full wall down, so if they can get a good solid team fight, maybe a boss play in a little bit over a minute when that comes back up, it does give CCS the opportunity now to have that win condition, to be able to go through and win the game. And I don't know about you, but I hate these tornadoes.
Yeah, they're a pain in the butt.
RTB having a lot of difficulty with these cursed bullets. Was trying to get that one onto ETC, but just couldn't quite make it happen.
And with the Sylvanas power, Amateur Opponents was able to push mid keep down enough that the tower just took it out, and there wasn't anything CCS could do about it. So that's a bit of a feels bad.
Top temple still up.
Whoop,
Osprey gonna get flipped, but has the leap there. I think that curse bullet did land onto Artanas, but he's able to back away. But boss is coming up here in 15 seconds, and I mean, if you're amateur opponents, this feels like a really great place to be in. You're close to level 20. The boss is coming up. Temple up in top lane isn't that big of a threat, really, to either side.
CCS
just at the moment.
Really about to lose their window to take a fight pre-20, which is gonna be a bad day when they lose that.
Big stun coming out there onto the Artanis from Muradin. But again, no real engage. They're kind of split up on the side of CCS, and amateur opponents is saying, all right, we'll accept this level 20, and this is potentially a game-ending boss here. And look at how quickly it just falls. Like the damage from the Artanis and Li Ming and Sylvanas just getting destroyed here. So we'll see. I mean, this is CCS's opportunity, and it looks like actually amateur opponent's gonna instead head up for the boss. Oh no, they're gonna come in for the bruiser camp, but
Run. Oh.
does Lunari get caught? She does leap over the ETC, so missing the slide.
Hop, little deer. Hop. Oh, the root. The Stukov 13 root. But she makes it out. Everything is fine. No one is dead yet.
CCS trying to finish off this boss. That top keep is going to go down here shortly to the top temple. And then it'll be shots on core. So only about a quarter of a level to go if they can get these level 20s. I don't think the temple... Yeah, temple definitely can't finish the core, but it's going to do some permanent damage. And there's a catapult with no minions. The catapult's gonna do more damage than the laser at this point if they're not careful.
No.
And it's fixated, so they have to focus that down especially
32%.
quickly.
This is the time for the comeback. Aero. CCS has their level 20s online. Their core is getting a little bit of a shield. And, yeah.
This
Next
is
objective.
this is where they have to yeah, well, I mean, that's why they have to make this, like, they have to find a fight. They have to make some kind of cheeky play that AO's not going to be expecting. And they need to do it together. And I mean, it might have to be over this this siege camp or not.
Yeah, weren't quite there in time. Amateur Opponents does have their siege camp coming up in 10 seconds, but it's really hard for CCS to go anywhere. They're just kind of stuck on defense at the moment unless they get a pick. But Amateur Opponents just wants to end it right now.
And I mean, that's fine. This is the riskier play for them, but they do have the Cactus Ham getting low there. Does use Bolt of the Storm to get away. Mosh Pit coming in onto 3, but it doesn't matter. The damage is there for that 32%.
Yeah, and that's the series.
That was almost anticlimactic, just because like
It
the
really
game just was
was.
like, hey, we got all this fight. Oh no, it's game over. Crap.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of tension, and then they were like, nope, and just ran at the core. And Greymane had been up to clear that top camp, so it took him a little long to get back, and so that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna say, like, it was a little of a risky play for them because they were having to fight under the defense with no like boss. They had no, heroes picked out. Yes, the Greymane wasn't there, and that was the extent of it. If they lost there, they potentially lose the game. So they really had to focus into putting that damage into the core. The Mosh actually probably gave them a big lift in that to help them, but they just had so much damage, right? I mean, Artanis and Li Ming and Sylvanas just melted that core.
I mean, and the Mosh actually didn't get popped until the very end there.
Yeah, it saved them a couple of seconds or so of pressure. But they didn't need many. Once they actually got onto that core, it was perfectly fine. But they had kind of a checkmate play, and that's where I was getting at. Is like they had both temples coming up soon-ish. They had the potential to just run at core, so there wasn't a lot that CCS could do other than try to take a fight. And ultimately, they tried. They let them come into the core, and it just wasn't enough. Not with the core as low as it was. Let's see if we can get an interview.
Sounds good.
I will meet you in the NGS lobby.
Yes. Oh, hello.
Hey, you look familiar. All right, we are joined by Butte Holiday. Welcome. Congratulations on your win. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
I told them I would either cry whether we won or we lost, so I'm already starting to cry because I'm just so proud of our team. We've developed so much, so it was a really good win, and that is a very, very good team. So they tried some surprising stuff, so we weren't really sure what to expect. They're very difficult to ban against, so we were a little nervous coming in, and we're excited to have taken the win. So
Sure. Well, it definitely, game one started off very even. It was quite the chess match as you guys were going through it.
Aero has muted himself.
All right, so
I was like, oh god, why is everyone muting themselves?
It was
Yeah,
just
sorry
like
about
a Shatner level dramatic pause, so everyone could just soak in the words.
nice. Well, Twitch chat heard me, so they knew what was going on. So I agree, and you started off game number one there. Game number one was very much of a chess match, very even, right up until just before level 10. You guys got a pick on a camp, turned it into a couple more, and then kind of just stayed a little bit ahead or a little bit more ahead throughout the game. So it really kind of showed your patience and control over that. But game two, I mean, the end score result there, 8 kills to 0, very strong matchup. And is this your guys' first season as a team together?
As a full team, yes. 3 of us, myself, Terminator, and Sonic's bro. We played on Bloodfin Murgles, Div D last season, and Cactus Ham was on the Baddest Dudes, and Duck Rogers was on Lulu, and i.e. Ed, our sub, was actually casted a lot of our Bloodfin games, so we brought him on. He tried out, and he's an awesome addition. So we're new as a full team, but not new to NGS.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Definitely some names that are old and familiar to the NGS crew. So what did you guys do differently? This is playoffs. Obviously, you guys finished with a record of 21-5. You did very well this season, only behind Better Than Bots, who lost a couple days ago to Team Training Wheels. How did you prepare differently for the playoffs than you did for the regular season? Because I've seen your notes, so I know the work that you put into scouting?
I'm gonna be completely honest. We didn't change anything. We just paid closer attention to what teams were more recently playing. That gave a little indication of some potential cheese stuff. We did see a Sergeant Hammer match from Celadorn. So we were like, okay, are they gonna take Sergeant Hammer? We weren't sure. So that sort of stuff helped out. But we had a couple coaching sessions from Frosty Win. So shout outs to you, Frosty. And we've been scrimming some really solid teams, Primates. So shout out to them. But honestly, we've just been really focusing on cleaning up some of our mistakes, most of them being positional. We've been really working hard on communication, keeping it clean, so everybody knows what the call is, just making quick decisions. And I think it's really paid off. But again, it's an uphill battle in the playoffs. Anything can happen, and we have a long road ahead of us to prove ourselves. So we'll keep preparing. But TLDR, we didn't really do too much differently. I think we're more focused in what we were practicing instead of just learning about each other as a team and moving forward. So
Sure. And so, I mean, it was pretty clear as you went through that you had good communication. Like the team was pretty clearly following calls. Like you could see that in the rotations and in your aggression and coming in on those the camps. Is there anything like? At what point do you get to in that game where you say, hey, you know what, maybe we're being too aggressive? Is there ever a point where you're like, hey, we need to pause this and just kind of restructure? Or do you just say, you know what, we're winning these, so just keep doing it. It's working.
I think that's a hard question. It's a good balance. I think when we start incorrectly positioning and we get sloppy with some of the little things, like not focusing damage on a target, because for example in that last game, like our comp was at least in my opinion very team fight heavy. We've had an excellent macro game as well, and that's a humongous part of it. So we, definitely were really good on our macro, but as far as team fights goes, like that's what our comp was really good at. And so if we were, out of position, getting caught out, things like that is when we would say, okay, we need to regroup. But we've been trying to balance our aggressiveness all season, and I think it starts with our tank and our offlaner. So Duck's been doing a really, really good job of managing that. I know it's really hard to do as a tank. Shane has no problem being aggressive. Sometimes he just ints in and he'll tell me that he's 50% health and that he's gonna die, and I give him crap for it. But just kidding. But in all seriousness, though, both of them do a really great job of managing that aggression, and they've both really improved in terms of initiation of team fights. So that's been really good for us. But I think if you're in that situation, like it's your game to lose, and it's anybody's game, and we needed to play clean, and that is a team that will take advantage of a mistake and will continue to snowball, and like anybody can beat anybody, as we've learned, and anybody should know this in NGS. So just got to keep going with our game and keep moving forward.
Sure. And of course, Shane being Terminator.
Terminator, yes.
Yeah. So I have another question, but I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Lulu in case she wants to ask the question. I'm not gonna say what it is in case you do.
Oh,
so
God.
I'll ask it if you don't. But go ahead, Lulu. Any questions?
So why the false advertising and no amateur opponents picked?
And that's why I didn't ask it.
Yeah. So Shane doesn't believe that that's a talent. In the Artanis kit. Why we banned BOE is not because we're not great at that map. It's strictly because Shane refuses to take amateur opponent. No, I'm totally kidding. But yeah, I don't know, that we threw around a couple names, and we just love that idea because when we were playing together, Shane just never took it, and we're like, amateur opponent, like, good meme. And we didn't know how well we would do. Like, we saw, Randy Newman, and we know Randy Newman from Div D, and they're a kick-ass team, and we knew of a lot of the names from other teams, so we didn't know how well we would do, and we just thought, like, either way, maybe we'll, do really well, and people will be like, you're not amateur, or we'll, maybe be, not so great, and people will be like, oh, okay. But, I don't know, it's a funny name, and we were thinking about the high fives, which I think would have been hilarious, but I love our amateur opponents. I love our logo. It's Leonardo DiCaprio from the Recorder version of My Heart Will Go On. So if you haven't checked out that video, you totally should. It's hilarious, but that's some background on our squad.
All right. Well, it sounds like we just got an update here from Jason that Randy Newman won over Resurgence of the Storm 2-1. So that's going to be your next.
Newman.
That's going to be your next opponent. Any thoughts on that matchup? Any anything you want to tell us about what you're going into there?
I mean, honestly, they're a very solid team. We, we shut down against them. They played very well, and they, I don't think they realized it, but they totally psyched us out. Like we were all kind of like, oh my God, Summer, oh my God, Randy Newman, like everything about it. And they're just a very good team all around. They're very good individual, but they're also really good as a team. They're very coordinated. So I think this time we're much better prepared, and we have a much better mentality to face them. We've corrected a lot of our mistakes and moving forward, and it doesn't matter who it is. We focus on the game at hand, which is why we actually didn't even know who won any of the games, so that's a surprise to me. Who won that game? I'm not sure what the score was, but we were focused on the game at hand. So Randy Newman, we love them. They're an awesome team, and we're excited to test ourselves again against you guys and hopefully come out with a win.
Sure. I'll post the brackets here when we're done with the interview, so you can see it on the stream. But Lulu, I don't know. Did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask?
So the big one.
Okay.
The amateur opponents was the big one.
So
yeah, it's false advertising, just like Probius never plays Probius. Not that I'm salty.
I know. Well, listen. To be fair, I love them over at Probius, and I have actually asked them. I think it's actually unfair, and I think it's very rude of them to claim that they are probes but never take on and embody the probe. So Lulu, I agree with you, and I 100% want to riot against that.
Yeah,
but we're forcing
at
Shane
8-bit.
to take AO. So yeah, at 8-bit, also known as late bit.
Yikes.
For those of you that may have scrimmed him, I'm just kidding. We love you, 8-bit.
Called out. All right. Well, let's go and wrap up. Any particular moment from the match tonight that you want to call out as a highlight moment?
Oh God, there were a lot of really good plays. I do want to say I think it was the first kill on Sky Temple. I'm not quite sure on Lunara. I slowed. We put a lot of damage on Lunara, and then I slowed her, and then Duck just comes out of. I literally don't know where he came from, but he comes out of nowhere, slides on her, and we end up killing her. I was not expecting that, but that was super awesome to see. But I don't know, there were a lot of really good plays, and I'm gonna be honest, I lose a lot of memory of games until I rewatch them on the VOD. So that's the first one that I can come up with, to be honest.
Sure,
but
no worries. Well, good deal.
Duck came out of the water.
Oh my God, yeah.
All right. So on that note, any shout-outs?
Well, first and foremost, I want to shout out both of you for casting. I know this is late for you, Aero, and I'm not sure where you're at, Lulu, but I appreciate you both. And when we do, speaking from AO, we really appreciate the cast and the energy and the knowledge you guys bring to your cast. I love your guys' cast. They're a lot of fun to watch, so we'll be looking forward to watching this again. Shout outs to CCS. Solid team all around. Again, all of their players, I don't know how many I think they have 8 on their roster, but all of them are very good. They're very hard to ban out team. And we weren't sure what to expect, so which makes them really difficult to scout. But props to you guys, really good season. And before I start crying, I'm just gonna love my team up, because I'm definitely going to cry, and it's gonna be super embarrassing, and Weenus is probably gonna put this on a soundboard if he gets a but props to my team. I love you guys so much. You guys keep me up and make me happy, and I'm so proud of everyone for improving this season, and for wanting to win and not just wanting to do whatever, and actually dedicating time and to improving. So and thanks to NGS for great season and all the work all of the volunteers and board members do. So, and that's all I got.
Alrighty. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Congrats on your victory, and good luck with the rest of the playoffs and against Randy Newman next week.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll look forward to it. And thank you guys, and have a good rest of your night.
You as well. Oh, this is our playoff strat, says Tuna. All right, so we're back to Lulu here.
Hello.
Hello. So I mentioned I was gonna put up the bracket. So let me put that up here. I'm just putting you back on the name there. Let's take a look at that bracket. Standings bracket. All right. So this is all official from what I saw in the brackets and what Jason said earlier, so I'm assuming that's official. The next round, semifinals, Team Training Wheels, the number 8 seed, gonna go against Cosmos. I believe they were the 4 seed. And then amateur opponents, we just saw that here, they'll be facing off against Randy Newman. So the number 2 and I think number 3 seeds here out of C West. I think that's going to be a really exciting matchup, Lulu.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime Randy Newman is in a game, they're just a lot of fun because they can do meme stuff, but they can also do meta stuff. And we saw a really clean match from amateur opponents here tonight, so that should be a good one for sure.
Absolutely. If you have been living under a rock today, the NGS announcements reminded everybody that the end of season survey is out, so make sure you go click on that. Take 5 minutes or so to go through that. Put in your comments, make sure that your voice is heard. If there's anything that you're particularly passionate about, like off-roster subs or the size of teams or the map rotation or whatever, make sure that you add some extra comments there. There's some questions about the NGS content out there. How was your overall season? Make sure you fill that out, and you don't have to put your name on there. You can if you want to win a prize, but ultimately just say things that are relevant to your view of NGS and your overall experience. And then make sure also, here coming soon, Jason will be posting the caster surveys, or the best caster, or whatever it is that he specifically calls it. I don't remember. But make sure you fill that out for both casters and co-casters for the season. And I think that covers everything that I wanted to say. Lulu, is there anything you want to say here to Twitch chat before we take off for the evening?
No, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us, and there's a lot more playoffs left, so keep tuning in. Also, Flynn says hi.
I couldn't.
He came back just to end the stream.
What a nice guy, that Flynn. Well, good
He
deal.
really is.
It looks like we've got there are a couple of matches going on right now. There's one that's let's see, B West, and that one doesn't have anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and send us over to Smiley. He sent a group of people over here earlier, so we'll go ahead and send them over
Who we
there.
going to watch, Aero?
We're gonna go watch Soak Every Lane versus Bronze 6.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, Division B West. So, everybody, thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again here, I guess, at some point next week. Good night, Lulu.
Bye. Good night.